So welcome aboard Trixie, and yes, you're watching the Captain's Blog, and there's a video about a boat on the Captain's Blog. We're not in a car. We're on a very rainy Barton Broad, mud weighted. This is the first time this boat's been out this season, and it's the first time this boat's been out since it's had some more works done on it. It's also the first time this boat's featured on the Captain's Blog, and I'm filming this on my phone. And also because it's literally just come out from the shed, it's not perfect, and it does need a damn good clean through. But I thought, as it's raining, there's nothing better to do. Why not do a video? Why not talk about Trixie, give you a tour around the boat? Now, some of the people that watch these videos are aware of Trixie, and they've met me and they've seen the boat in the flesh and about on the waters last summer. And other people, you have no idea about this boat. So let's start off with the basics. It was built in 1992. It's never been in a hire fleet, and it spent a lot of its life on the River Thames. It was built in Wroxham by George Smith and Sons, Sheerline. It's a 24-foot boat, aft cockpit, tiny, 9'6" beam. And yet it has a 43 horsepower Nani engine linked to a Hearth gearbox. So unusual that when boats are generally bought by private owners or the first time, boatyards tend to put larger engines in than's ever needed to kind of try and, I don't know, impress them. It's got 43 horsepower. This in hire, only 30. As if it makes a big difference. It doesn't, because it's 24 foot long and it's got 2 bilge kills, so frankly it's limited by the length of the hull speed. It has quite a lot of options that were spec'd when it was built, such as an anchor winch, a spotlight, it's got wipers, it's got a compass, it's got a depth log, it's got a speed log, it's got these things you don't really need on a 24-foot riverboat. It also has bow thrusters, so that's rather nice. It's had quite a lot of upgrades done over the years by its previous owners. It had all new upholstery here, which you can see around here, done by Jekylls, and it's got adjustable Helm seats that move backwards and forwards, and it really is quite a decent boat. Now, when we bought it from Anglia Yacht Brokers, I believe their name is. They're based at St Olave's Marina. And I'd looked at the boat that's currently for sale with Norfolk Boat Sales for $17,995, which was an ex-hire boat from the Richardson's Broadland Saturn fleet. And 18 grand's a reasonable price. But it did need a lot of stuff doing to it. But my mum had decided she really liked this kind of boat. Small, compact, easy to get on and off, easy to handle, not going to cost too much to tow or insure or run, etc. Yeah. And so when this came up on the market, it was days old on the market. So of course, when you go to have a look at it and you're talking to the broker, and the broker talks to the owner and the broker are not silly people, and they know that they have a keen buyer, and there was little room for negotiation on the price. It was in good order. I think the canopy could have been saved by just having some stitching repairs done, but I opted instead to go for a completely new canopy. This has been done by Bailey & Stone. In about 7 days they turned this around. Lovely burgundy. It's a Sunbrella Plus fabric, and I'm really pleased with it. As you can tell, it's pouring with rain and there isn't a drip anywhere. All of the zips have all been sealed so that there's no water that can come in from any of those, and I think for the price it's been a really good quality canopy, so I can recommend that. There are things that we're going to have done still to the boat. Shortly after buying it, I had to replace all of the batteries. There was originally 3 batteries, 2 for domestics and 1 which ran the starter for the engine and also ran the bow thruster. However, very shortly after they were fitted, they got destroyed because the battery charger had been wired in wrong and programmed wrong and was basically boiling the batteries. The alternator regulator had also gone tits up, so that needed to be rebuilt. And then we had all new seacocks fitted instead of the screw gated type, so it's an easy lever on off. You can immediately see if it's in the on or off position. I had the water strainer for the engine, which were those brass tubes or bronze tubes, removed, and a clear Vita style one put in. So again, you can easily look at that, and they don't seem to clog up as bad as those stack ones. What else did we have done? New bilge pump, and we got the navigation lights changed to LEDs. The anchor winch repaired. Not that I've used the anchor. It has a mud weight as well, because why do you need an anchor on a 24-foot riverboat? Who knows, but hey, it's got one. I had all of the gauge lights replaced because they'd failed over the years. New wiper motors, new blades, new wiring. Removed the TV aerial and had that nicely done. Also, it's re-gelled, so you can't see where that's been. The engine was serviced twice in 6 months, because that's me. New belts put on, the heat exchanger taken apart, and other bits and bobs done to the gearbox and the engine, so that is running sweet. New steering cable, new throttle gear linkage cable, new fenders, new mooring lines, new upholstery inside your seat with the new foam seat cushions, new water pump, new accumulator, new shower pump, new lighting, new taps, new red ensign, new name decals, obviously new stripe, had 2 stripes. It had originally a painted blue stripe on the side, and then that was changed to a vinyl stripe, which was the wrong colour red, and now I've got the correct colour red, which is a deep burgundy that matches the canopy. So yes, it's had quite a lot of things done to it, and we now need to recarpet and possibly have a new fridge and possibly have a new oven, because the oven randomly switches itself off, although it looks like it's never been used. There isn't a burnt bit of anything on there. I think a lot of the problems with this boat was it was used for just the odd weekend, so pumps and things never got used. They just sat there, like the shower pump. Probably people rarely had a shower on the boat, so then when you start to use it, it's like, oh, it breaks, you know. So I'm going to give you a tour of the boat, and I have to remember to look here because the camera is there, so I'm just like I've got some lazy eye looking over there, and I'll talk you through the boat. It's very compact, but I think it's a really nice little weekender, and it suits us and it suits me to have as an easy boat. I can just, like today, literally go on and enjoy. So let's take a look around. It won't take long. Well, I'll go on too much, it probably will, of this little Sheerline 24 aft cockpit. So this is the cockpit area, and it's quite an interesting boat because despite its size, it's obviously not that long and it's not that wide. It's quite tall in a way, because you've got full headroom here, and up here, as you can see, you're very upright and you have a really nice, if it wasn't misty and raining, view over the water all round. You've got your wipers, as I said before, but it's all misted up so you can't really see out. But nice tall windscreens. Obviously this all folds down. It is capable of getting under Potter Heigham Bridge. So says the spec. I haven't actually recorded what the air draft of this boat is now, especially since we've had the TV aerial, which was fixed, removed. I believe actually the highest point now is going to be this instrument binnacle, so that needs to be done, but apparently it will get under Potter Heigham Bridge when everything's folded down. So this is the helm, and as you can see, for a little boat it's quite populated with stuff. So first of all, down here you've got your remote spotlight switch. You can just see maybe there is the spotlight. You've got your bilge pump here. You've got your Vetus bow thruster controls here, and your typical old school nunny instrumentation panel. It's done 2,525 hours on the engine, and but it will uses no oil, no coolant, and I mean it holds about 4 bar pressure of oil. It's in very good condition. So when people poo-poo Narni engines and talk about good old Perkins and BMCs that you have to sort of change your oil relatively regularly in comparison to these more modern engines, this has not done that many hours, but it's smooth, it starts first time, and I'm pleased it's got this in. If it didn't have this in, if it had say a BMC or a Perkins, I wouldn't buy the boat. That's just my personal preference. So the fact that it came with a larger engine than is necessary, the only thing I can say about that is good is if you're heading over Braden Water, for example, up the Bure against the tide, you have got masses of reserve power, and as I've done last summer, so that's good. What else have we got? We've got a port wiper and a starboard wiper. We've got panel lights which light up, maybe you can see, it lights up red basically, and these light up as well, and this lights up when the engine's running regardless of what you're doing. Anchor light obviously for when you're mooring at night on the river, Broad, whatever. It's got a horn which I changed for a pair of, you probably can't hear that from inside, but it's got the tone of an old Bentley to just be a bit eccentric. So changed out the horn, that's another thing that was done. Cockpit lights are these here, which I've changed to LED. Everything's going to be LED. We still need to do the interior lights are LED. So that's been done there. That's my anchor winch up and down obviously. That's as you can see, depth under the keel, so 2.7 feet on Barton Broad, or outside the posts at the moment. It is quite low up here currently, the water levels. So anyway, a speed log which isn't by GPS, so I just ignore that. Obviously here's the compass. This is something new that we had fitted, which is a battery monitor by NASA. It's a BM1, as you can see, 12.5 volts, and we're using 4 point something amps at the present time. This here makes absolutely no sense. It will tell you it's 100% fully charged. Just turn off the engine and immediately it will say, as it is now, 80%. It really isn't a good indication with the lead acid batteries, precisely your percentage of how much you've got in them. I prefer to simply go by the voltage. After the first 3 batteries got destroyed, I got 3 new batteries, Vetus batteries, lower capacity at 105 amp hours each, but way overbuilt, much heavier, more lead, and can withstand more cycles of charging, and then had a separate new battery put in just for the bow thruster and starting the engine. So now we have 3 domestic batteries just for the domestic electrics. We also have an inverter that's been fitted. So that's the Helm. Oh, and this has also been done as well, which is a simple accessory socket. And this here is a double USB, and I just got this from a pound shop. And you just plug it into your USB and it moves around, and it's a really good little low light for lighting up things at night, or looking at stuff if you're night navving. You don't need a bright glaring light. It's really handy. So lots of boats have these days, these little 5 volt USB sockets. So cheap little £1 light, brilliant. You've got a cockpit co-pilot's chair over here. You've got these little things which lift up, and you put a little bit of wood under, and so there's 2 tables. There could be a table put here, but I haven't got that. There's storage under here, storage under there, gas bottles under here. This all removes and this lifts up, and then obviously here is the stern of the boat with a bathing platform. So when you're both of you going down the river, it affords a really nice view. It's not like one person has a good view and the other person doesn't. It's got this really nice sliding door, which has got a big polycarbonate tinted, well, what could you say, glazed area in it, but it slides really nicely on the runners. Little space down here to put stuff. The previous owner made these, I suppose, for his wife. That's a little box, but it means that you can sit here and put your feet quite high up. And obviously under here is your engine, hot water tank on the left, diesel tank on the right. And now we're going to go down inside the accommodation of the boat. So this is what I really like. When it's a horrible, dull, rainy day like today, when you're down here, it's really cosy. The wood's in great condition. There's no bangs, scrapes, dents out of any of it. And it really is of the time that this was built. You know, you wouldn't do this these days, perhaps with the same sort of laminates and style of wood and everything else, but I really quite like it. And I've seen other ones of these Sheerlines for sale, and they're not quite the same. They have a big open plan area down here. This one, you can take these boards out and then this will be open, so you can have that as an open plan area should you wish. But also, unlike others, you can actually completely close off the forward part of the boat to be quite private there, if you're going to make this up to be a very small single berth. So then there is that little bit of privacy, and that just basically clips back like that, and it's done. That's your only little wardrobe there. There is storage under each of these seats, and in fact here is another little bit of storage. It's quite funny because this is where the bar is, and it has all these little holders where you can put your bottles of booze or whatever it is you want. So that's just a little bit funny there. Other than that, the only storage is up here, which are just things like this for your cups, glasses, etc. I use this here for essentials for food. Nice little hob down here. You can see how little use this is. All the enamel, perfectly conditioned. This is the oven. I mean, it just really hasn't had that much use. There's a little holder underneath for your pots and pans. This is your only actual cupboard where we keep, you know, our crockery and stuff. Little tiny fridge, old school fridge, uses quite a lot of amps. Works really well. Only reason why I'm considering replacing it is to save some amps. The sink is under here, so when you're not using the sink, you can put this down and that extends your worktop area. This here is a Peltier based dehumidifier, which I really can recommend getting. It takes 60 watts of power and will take about 5 litres of water a day, and you can have it on continuous drain. The only thing you can't do with one of these, as I found, is when it's very cold, you must have it on a timer to come on for an hour, go off for an hour, come on for an hour, go off for an hour. Why? Because if you leave it on all the time, the element gets so cold inside, it just turns into a block of ice and completely defeats the purpose of taking water out of the air. Whereas coming on for an hour, off for an hour, it starts to frost up, and then in that hour that it's off, even if it's really cold, it will defrost. The water will come into the collection tray and it will do its thing, and that's why I just have it on a little timer down there. So over here, this is the new Upholstery Foam, everything all new, which was done by Bailey & Stone, which matches the cushions that we got from Wilco, but now we need new curtains because they don't really work anymore. This is the inverter control panel, cheapest inverter from China I could find on Amazon, works perfectly. This is the Eberspacher heating system, doesn't work perfectly. I had to replace this whole controller to get it to work. I've got a VHF which is left over from when it was on the Thames, CD radio, fitted a carbon monoxide alarm and a smoke alarm. Over here we've got our temperature, barometer and humidity, and this here, which again is a bit cheap and nasty, and some of the switches are a bit but this is all original. Smith's Sheerline. There's a outline of the boat. I'm thinking about having Brian Wards of Brundle do a new one of these with newer switches, and they could engrave the boat just like that, and instead of Smith's Sheerline, I might just have the name of the boat put down there, and instead of an analog voltmeter, a digital voltmeter. So again, that's something to consider for future use, and this is something you won't find on ex-Hirecraft. So that's that there. What else? Got the telly over there, obviously. These here, by the way, were from the shop at Ranworth Broad. They're greeting cards. And then I went and got some £1.50 frames from Asda in Yarmouth and put the greeting cards in, and they look like Broadland scenes that have been, you know, little watercolours, but they're actually greeting cards. So behind us, the heads, which is quite small but very usable. That's all new, so you can have a shower or use the tap. We've got a new light up here, which is an LED, which is very bright and uses hardly any amps. And obviously you've got the old school pump toilet, although it has got the provision of 12 volts, so that could be converted at a later stage to be an electric flush 12 volt toilet. And obviously under here is your shower tray, and then you've got your shower curtain here. So perfectly formed and very high headroom in here, considering this is a small boat. So, you know, small, but you know, you don't need to be in there for too long. And then here is the main sleeping accommodation. Now, for a boat of this width, very, very wide, I'll show you this side better with my unmatching grabbed last minute. I'm going on Trixie. Didn't think too much about what bedding I was taking or what colour it was, but hey ho. But you know, when you look at this boat and how tiny it is, look how wide. If I push that pillow all the way there, the birds are on here. So they're really actually quite oversized. They've got storage underneath there. Nice little reading lights, which I converted to LED. So again, hardly any amps. These lights are to be changed to circular ones, which are going to be teak with brass. They're £45 each in Norfolk Marine. I got them for £19.99 on Amazon delivered. So that enabled me to relatively cheaply, he says, replace every single one, but they've got to be put in because these ones here, well, yeah, they don't really work very well. That one doesn't work very well. This one does work, but they use a lot of amps. They take ages to warm up, and they're just a bit nasty. So they're going to go. All tinted glass, no leaks anywhere. This colour, by the way, was the colour of the seating here. I'm trying to change it. Going to change all the carpeting next and lift this up, make it a bit more bright and a bit more modern. This previous owner kept, which is nice because it means that the table underneath is perfect, unscratched, you know, hasn't faded in the light at all. So nice to have that. And I've got another sheet of this pre-cut to size because it was just that sort of person. Nice wooden little curtain holders here, again all tinted windows here. Again, there's no leaks here or anything. So yeah, that's the view outside. Not that you can really see much because it's not focusing on the actual outside. Maybe it will now. Yes, button broad. It is brightening up a little bit. So yeah, that's, you know, everything you need. If I come back through here again, and you'll see, there you go. It is small, but it is perfectly formed. You can cook, got an oven, 4-burner hob, all your utensils, a fridge. You know, now it's got an inverter, it's got telly, it's got heating, it's got absolutely everything you need. So it's also got a big curtain, by the way, here. That doesn't just at night time, you know, people see through or whatever. No, that's all okay. So on a nice day, it's in the summer, you have that open, you're in and out and up and down, and you've got all the canopy open. It actually is a really nice, light and airy boat. So yeah, we're happy with it, and just wanted to show you finally what it looks like. And now it is in use, so to speak. What I hope to be able to do is use it and get some videos and do some proper stuff again, because it's been so long. Because frankly, I diverted my attention away from boats because I learnt to drive last November and got a car, and I was like, well, that's it. This is so much amazing, because a lot of the reason why I had holidays on the Broads and hired boats and came alone is about independence and exploring and deciding, oh, I'm going to spend a night on Barton Broad, I'm going to go to Horning tomorrow, I'm going to go wherever. And because I wasn't a driver, that was my scope. I could drive a boat, but I couldn't drive a car. Well, then you get a license and you can drive a car instead of, you know, Horning or Barton Broad. It's let's go to the North Yorkshire Moors, let's go to the coast, let's go here, you know, let's drive all around and everything else. And then I'm 40 this year, so obviously I'm due a midlife crisis. I had one a bit early, and I bought a Mercedes SLK. It's a hairdresser's car. Well, it was a hairdresser's car. These days it's 14 years old, and that sort of generation of, oh, it's a hairdresser's car, have now moved on, and they're sort of older and looking back and going, it's a hairdresser's car. And the 20-something, 30 millennials don't see it as a hairdresser's car. They just go, bloody hell, well, that's cool. Really? 14 years old? That don't look like 14 years old. You know, it's like, wow, you know. Unfortunately, I bought one of the cheapest ones in the country, and I'm making a sensible step of not fixing all the things that are wrong with it. It needs a new air conditioning compressor. It needs new hangers for the exhaust. It needs a new blower fan motor for the cabin. It's also having some issues with the transmission. So I've had these priced up. They're going to cost more than the worth of the car. So yeah, it's time to say goodbye to that car. And I'm looking for another one, another SLK that's in just a bit better condition, that hasn't had 5 owners before me. And we'll see where we go with that. So there could be some driving films, because this channel isn't just about boats. It's about recording the things I do, which used to just be about boats, but now there's cars involved. It could include cars. I know that hasn't been very popular with some of the viewers, and the choice is yours if you want to watch. Personally, I regard it as being a little bit like an old rock god that's no longer chastised by his record company for, you know, doing a bit of experimental stuff, and he's able to say, do you know what, I'm just going to put this album out. And a lot of fans will go, oh, we miss your old stuff so much, what are you doing? And then a few other people go, oh, do you know what, that's quite cool. And he thinks, I'm just being my creative self. And there's plenty of other people doing blogs, videos, Broads related, so they can take the flame and run with that, and I'll stick to my own creativity and whatever. And I'm not quite sure what direction that's going to go in with the boats, but it's going to be a little bit different to exactly what we've had before. But then I say this now and it might be just the same as it was before, who knows. But at least I've managed to show you Trixie finally. Yeah, so new lighting's going to go in, new carpet's going to go in, and we'll be done. And well, a few other little bits and bobs here and there, but she's a lovely boat, cosy, warm, dry, and really nice to be on. So thanks for joining me for that little tour.